You live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Uncut with former Nebraska baseball pitcher Kyle Perry on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Powered by the Teammates Mentoring Program.
Yes, it is great to be with you here, on a Sunday night as we are ready for another episode of Uncut, and it is my pleasure to welcome in the host of Uncut, Kyle Perry, via the Aloe Fiber VIP line. Kyle, plenty of things going on, no shortage of topics. How is your night going?
Holy smokes, brother. It's going great. How's yours?
Oh, not too bad. It's been a busy weekend, and Husker fans have kind of been up and down. Football fans have been excited for the college football playoff. There's just a lot going on, so it's been a good weekend.
Absolutely, it has, dude. I mean, hey, what do you think about the Pinstripe Bowl? I don't mind it.
Yeah. We've talked before. I mean, obviously, as a baseball guy, it's going to be exciting for you. I'm a Red Sox fan, so I have mixed feelings. Then you throw in the fact that Boston College is going to be there. Does that mean that Nebraska is going to take on the Yankees role? I really hope not.
No, well, hey, that'd be a pretty cool. Northeastern University every year they play the Red Sox in an exhibition game at the very beginning of the year. Yeah, true story. But yeah, that'd be cool if the Huskers got hooked up with that gig. But yeah, hey, I mean, how about it? What Scott Frost going to UCF again, going right back? I mean, let's go. Like you said, man, there's plenty of entertainment going around, especially the college football landscape right now. Holy smokes. Are you kidding?
Yeah, the playoffs were fun. I mean, and the announcement, Alabama left out. Just the way that the playoff games broke down. Clemson somehow getting in a position to have a game-winning field goal there at the end. A lot of newcomers to the new conferences coming in and ultimately winning them. It's just a very entertaining week. But I mean, you're right too. I mean, the Scott Frost news is so fascinating on many levels, and it's funny because I see the reaction from just about everybody. Is that, as a Nebraska fan, you're so beat down now, you're just kind of expecting for Scott Frost to maybe go to the playoffs before Nebraska or something like that. That feels like the football gods have had a vendetta against Nebraska fans for a while.
I mean, I think it's how can you not be romantic about it, man? I mean, I'm with it. If there's been plenty of things said about his tenure at Nebraska. Obviously not the prettiest, and boy, it sucks, when you look back, because in that coaching search and that search for a coach, when we ended up getting Frost, there was one guy to hire, in my opinion, in that situation, and it was Scott Frost. So I mean, it's cool. I'm glad he's going back somewhere where he has fond memories, and hopefully he has success, but seeing him say he gets back to the success he left it with, oh man, that would make anybody that gives a hoot around here sick to their stomach.
Yeah, it's interesting too because you wonder who he's going to bring on his coaching staff. Is it going to be some familiar names that Nebraska fans know? His former defensive coordinator Eric Shenander, right now, by the way, going to be in the playoffs. He's the Boise State's defensive coordinator, so kind of interesting just to follow all different parts of Husker landscape. It just feels like, and this is way too early, maybe at some point things could change, that there's not going to be a Scott Frost reunion here in Lincoln anytime soon, but you could imagine maybe some guys resurfacing on that UCF staff and maybe have some Husker connections maybe down the line, might be able to make a return. So it's just, I hope that most fans are able to I'd say forgive. I don't even know if that's the right word, because it's not like Scott Frost purposely came in here and didn't succeed. But just able to look past that and cheer for a former Husker that, of course, did at one point quarterback Nebraska to its last national championship.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that can often get forgotten about, obviously, in a different time when he was around. And but boy, it's just crazy how his stop here in Lincoln, how it just was the expectation to not even sniff the expectations that he was coming in with is obviously disappointing. But boy, it's you wish him well, and yeah, and it's cool to say he brings back some former coaches that we saw, as Huskers for a short stint. That'd be really cool. And I had no clue Shenander was at Boise State, so that's pretty sweet actually. And it's just so bizarre. And I mean, we've talked about it plenty. To see people not succeed in Lincoln is you want to break it down like it's a formula to why we're not getting it done. Just in previous years, and so to see a guy like Shenander, and I remember people weren't too fond about him. If you remember his time here, it seemed like you could never see any good words said about the guy. But crazy nonetheless that you look back at a name like that as in the college football playoff.
Yeah, it's again with the Joe Burrow stuff and all that over the years, it just feels like the football gods are punishing Nebraska. Hopefully they don't do that again here. Though again, I will at least be one that is cheering for Scott Frost to have success at Nebraska. I just like Nebraska to have a little bit of success too. But I like asking people, and you were at the university for a large part of Scott Frost's tenure here. I like to ask Husker football fans, if you could just break it down to an outsider, why do you think Scott Frost didn't work out at Nebraska?
Well, I talked about it last week with, it's at a place like Nebraska where you have the fan engagement, you got the care at the place and care to a fault, to some extent. And when the results aren't following, when results aren't following and that just happens to be the case, I don't know. And the way you say it, the football god punishing Nebraska football, it might have been the fault of an AD or two down the line, but I'm all about the baseball gods. That's what we say in baseball, and then football gods, I'm sure that's the thing too, and because the baseball gods are very true, very real. But man, whatever it is, I need to get down to the bottom of it. And so glad we get to look forward to a bowl. Boy, it's bizarre. It's bizarre why people, haven't been able to have, success that Nebraska fans have seen in the past. And, hopefully we get there to, someday and yeah, we'll just see, I guess. But boy, it's interesting. But what a fever dream. What a fever dream this is to see Scott Frost, because he came in, his first year was, the fall of 2018? Was it? Yep, that's right. Yeah, so that was my first semester in college. So yeah, I technically I outlasted him, but but yeah, man, I couldn't tell you why he didn't have that success. You hear stories about what he could have been up to, but it was regardless, the results weren't there, and tough. It's too bad, because that would have been a fairy tale sort of a go for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's lost on people too, because you're so close to the story. You just think, well, yeah, the prodigal son returns and he should, be the one to lead us. But think, and I love, Nebraska Nation as it is, but think how unsufferable we would be to other fan bases if that actually worked to our benefit. And we did have a quarterback, that led us to a national championship, come and return us to prominence. You'd have a hard time shutting Husker fans up. So at some point that will happen. At some point, Nebraska will return to its rightful spot near the top in college football. And I can't wait to be able to take part in talking trash to all the other fan bases. But it just didn't happen soon enough. Didn't happen under Scott Frost's regime. But I think we would have been insufferable.
Yeah, I can't help but agree with you. But just think about this though. Hopefully this time is humbling for Husker fans. So if and when we do get to that point, we have enough, whereabout to maybe just chill on the trash talk, because we know what rock bottom feels like.
Yeah, I think at one point it was. I always say it felt like a birthright to win 9 or 10 games here at Nebraska, at least for the time period that I was born. And at some point we lost that, and so I think you're right. I think having gone through a few decades of not living up to the billing probably has humbled us enough that that could be the case. I do have a question with the football being played on the baseball field. You have any concerns there? You think there's any any crossover? And obviously they do this a lot, so it's not like the first time they're going to do it, but it's a different concept.
No, I love it. I love it, man. I mean, we got to play at US Bank Stadium, home of the Minnesota Vikings. We could fit a baseball diamond in that place, and that was pretty fun. So I mean, obviously that place is turf, and Yankee Stadium is natural surface. So I guess you mix in a little bit of dirt there at the bottom of your screen, probably that you're going to see. I'm not sure what the setup is, if there's any dirt. If they avoid the dirt at Yankee Stadium, I'm not sure. But the Raiders did it for years at the Coliseum, so I'm not. I mean, it should, unless something freaky happens, they should be fine. And it isn't when it comes to like the ACLs and the injuries that we're seeing. Is that due to the turf? The turf in NFL stadiums?
Yeah, that's a pretty big argument on behalf of those that oppose the turf anyway.
Okay. Well, that makes sense then. All right. So natural surface, I don't think there should be any issue.
Do you think that Nebraska should wear a patch or something with a Yankees logo? Or I know you're somewhat of you're at least somewhat of a Yankees fan.
Well, yeah, yeah, only because of my dad. But I wouldn't say I'm a fan really.
Okay.
Just if they win, seeing them in the World Series, that's fine with me. I don't care. But I think it'd be really cool. I'm all for like patches and jerseys or hats with patches, and so I'm all about that sort of stuff. If they, I'm sure if a Yankee themed patch would be pretty neat to see.
Well, it's funny too, just the way that the sports all cross over at some point is, when you look at North Carolina or Michigan playing and they have an Air Jordan logo, and that's from basketball, but that's the branding of it. Now, I think if I saw it right, and I saw the graphic of Nebraska releasing the little graphic of that they accepted this bowl game, is that they'll be playing for the George Steinbrenner Trophy, which obviously has a lot of baseball, ties to it.
Yeah, it's funny. It's also funny to see Boston in there too, because Boston people don't like Yankees. So, yeah, no, I like it. I think it's pretty neat. I'm all about the implementing the different venues for bowl games. But my first thought was like, damn, man, they all the places you go play a bowl game, you end up going. It's probably going to be so cold in the Bronx that day. Like it's not like they get to go on this bowl, which we deserve it. If you've had an 8-year hiatus from the bowl game, that you should have to go play in the cold. But they're not going to go down to sunny California or Florida or Arizona, wherever, to play their bowl game, which is it's funny. But hopefully those guys can go appreciate it, because playing a football game at Yankee Stadium, I'm sure, is going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, that's something that I think just is very unique. I mean, you mentioned you were able to play, at the home of the Vikings, and it's just cool to kind of go back to your childhood, I think, because, even as athletes, as you had that separate path, getting away from, so you just kind of never think there's a lot of baseball fans, I'm sure, in Nebraska's football roster that played baseball growing up, but at some point had to give up the dream of playing at Yankee Stadium or something like that so they could pursue the football path. And for it to kind of come around that way, I think it's just is very unique and very cool.
No, absolutely. I think, I just hope there's, plenty of guys on the team that, played ball growing up that understand how cool it is, because I mean, I know I'd think it would be pretty cool.
Now you were right though. I mean, I think half the response I've seen is that people saying they don't want to go to New York in the winter with how cold it will be. And your response was perfect too. I mean, I think if you wanted to end up in Phoenix or Orlando or something, you had to win a game or two more. So the 6-6 team just kind of gets placed where it was. So it's just kind of this mix to me, I think, of, in a certain way, Nebraska, it's the power of their branding. You get to play at Yankee Stadium. That's something that you can sell tickets with pretty well. And just kind of tell a cool story. Dylan Ryle, it feels like kind of the red carpet's being brought out for you as a 6-6 team. But the opposite end of that is a lot of fans aren't going to be too excited to go to New York, but then there's going to be a whole lot of fans that will make the trip one way or the other. I know there were a lot of people that I talked to, even a few families that were going to go to the bowl game regardless. So hopefully a time in New York will help there. But it's holiday season. I mean, the hotels are going to be expensive. The rides are going to be expensive because of the holiday season too.
Oh, no doubt. That'll be fun. I think it would be a fun trip. If you're a Husker fan out there, go make the trip. I think it'd be cool if you can afford it. I sure can't.
I was gonna say, have you been out to New York before?
No, never have. I've only been up when we played Rutgers. We flew out of New Jersey, so that was the only time. It was pretty surreal seeing the skyline of New York, though, off in the distance. Man, that place is sweet.
Yeah, it's definitely on my bucket list. I haven't been to New York either, and this is where, I kind of get caught. Is like, well, if you're looking for a reason to go, this would be it. It's like, well, that's not necessarily. You don't have to look for a reason to go to New York. There's plenty to do there on its own. But I don't know if a 6-6 against a 7-5 bowl team is exactly going to get me there. Probably not this go around. I'll probably have to put it on the back burner. But like you said, it's not necessarily that I don't want to go. It's that I probably, I just have other things I'm working on in my life right now to manage that in my budget. But I think it's a cool enough bowl game for Nebraska to get.
No, absolutely. I appreciate that part of it. So I'm glad you do too. It's going to be cool.
Did you catch up with too much of the conference championship games? Did you watch too much college football? Were you enamored with the playoffs? Come on, Brad.
Yeah, our teammate Colby Gomez got married in Kansas City last night, so we were getting him married, and afterwards we got we had the Texas Georgia game on the table during dinner, and so we were keeping up with that one. That was a great game. I think Georgia win that game. I don't care how it looked, was the lock of the century. I don't know. That was just a feeling I had before the game. I don't bet, so I can say these things without consequence. But that's just where I'm at with the whole thing. I thought there was no scenario in which Georgia didn't come out on top. But that's just me, and I was right. But got to see that one. Oregon. That was Oregon Penn State. That the way that one ended was funky. I'm glad Penn State had a chance there at the end, but Oregon, what a pick to seal that one up. Kind of tough. Oregon's a great team, but to have them just come in first year in the Big Ten and win it kind of sucks. It'd have been nice to have an established Big Ten team kind of put them in their place. And with the playoff, interesting to see how the conference championships helped out a couple teams get into the playoff and with seeding and such. I mean, what are your whole thoughts on the 12-team playoff and the way it shaped out for its first year?
Well, it's certainly interesting. I think that there's benefits to. I think it's kind of a mess, to be honest with you, because I think the number one team, Oregon, is supposed to have the best, bye situation or kind of second round matchup, and they're awaiting the winner of Ohio State and Tennessee. That sounds more like a matchup that you would give maybe to the 4 seed if they in their next matchup. Now Arizona State potentially has Texas. They have the winner of Texas Clemson, so that's not going to be a whole lot easier. But when you look at that side of the bracket, we're going to kind of have to get used to these new the bracket situation like we do for college basketball. You're kind of in your Soto Sweet 16 or whatever. Of course, only with 12 teams here. But if I'm on the other side of it, the other side of the bracket is Boise State awaiting Penn State and SMU, and Georgia awaiting Indiana and Notre Dame. Of course, we've had questions about Indiana and SMU and their level of competition. Notre Dame dropped one to Northern Illinois to begin the year. And Penn State just can't get over that hump of not quite beating, the top teams in their own conference. So to me, it looks like if I'm Georgia, who's kind of licking their wounds, we'll see how healthy Carson Beck is. But that's a heck of a draw for what I suppose is the number 2 seed. But it's just, to me, the biggest problem I would have with it is that Oregon is likely awaiting Ohio State, and I think that's pretty tough for the number 1 seed for their big win. To have earned that number 1 seed, and to me, probably get potentially, whether it's Oregon State or Ohio State or Tennessee, kind of the most difficult second round matchup.
Yeah, that is tough, but that's just the way it goes. Because you look at Ohio State, I mean, that loss against Michigan might just kind of help them out, and it's going to bite. It's going to bite another team, for something they didn't do, because Ohio State wasn't supposed to lose to Michigan. They should have been a higher seed if they didn't, lose that game. And here we are looking at a potential shakeup in the play-ins. And here's what I like to see, though: 12-team playoff. I'm not sure what you're going to classify as an upset. Obviously, a lesser seed, beating the higher seed, but I just hope to see some great games, and Ohio State, sitting there waiting for a team like Oregon, it just makes for great ball, and I hope someone like an Arizona State or Boise State wins their first game, shakes things up a little bit. And we see some teams that we don't usually see in the mix, have an actual real shot at winning that thing. And so we'll see, though. But I'm fired up for it, because I mean, what's better than just getting to watch more ball?
Yeah, absolutely. And then just kind of thinking about it too, is that if you did the BCS type of era type of thing here, Oregon would be awaiting maybe Georgia, I suppose, at this point, with 2 losses. So you haven't seen that happen too much in the history of college football. I think the last time a 2-loss team won was 2007, actually, when Bo Pelini was the defensive coordinator at LSU. So that's kind of interesting. And if they did do the 4-team playoff, they would have had some decisions to make there. All that to say, Oregon has pretty much cleared the path for them to be the only undefeated team and the favorite kind of going into this matchup as the number 1 overall seed. But they've never won a national championship before. So there's just a lot of storylines and a lot of interest around that. Do you feel like Oregon is, without a doubt, the best team? They seem to, without a doubt, have the best resume.
Well, they've proven it. I mean, the Big Ten's no slouch, and they came in and took care of the conference pretty handily this year. So, I think no other team has that resume, and has proven it all year like they have. So, I think they've earned that 1 spot. But, coming down the stretch, we'll see if they can get it done. That's just what it comes down to. But like you mentioned, I mean, they're not going to have an easy road. I don't think anybody's really going to have an easy road to the title. But like I said, man, it makes for great entertainment, and we'll see. And I, to be honest with you, I wouldn't mind seeing, Oregon or Ohio State, the regulars, if you will, in the playoff, get booted first round. I wouldn't mind that one bit. But we'll see, man. I think Oregon is a force to be reckoned with, man. They just keep proving it. So Dan Lanning's, he looks like he'd be a fun guy to play for, man. And I was talking last night. I mean, that's the new way of recruiting and getting kids from the portal and just being a player's coach is so important now, because boy, you're starting to see more and more of those younger generation coaches popping up into the limelight and having really, really great success in their respective sports, not just football, but football you're seeing a lot too.
Well, and it is fun. Obviously you're going to miss the traditional power in Alabama, and it looked like the college football playoff did just about everything they could to get Alabama in. But the way that SMU lost to Clemson, I mean, that would have been a gut punch for a 2-loss SMU team to miss it, having to play the conference championship game. So I think they kind of backed themselves in a corner there. But if you look at this field too, it's interesting. Clemson now with the 12 seed, they feel like a real long shot, but at least, that's kind of a brand name that's in there. but of all the 12 teams that are left out there, you kind of talk about Nick Saban leaving the sport and who's gonna be the next wave in college football. Well, there's only two ways this go without us getting a new head coach as a champion, and that would be Clemson as the 12 seed with Dabo Swinney, which would be wildly entertaining one way or the other, or Kirby Smart winning another one at Georgia. But other than that, every other head coach would be a new story and a new champion.
I like that too, man. And I was awfully surprised after SMU lost. It was surprising because it was like, good for them. Heck of a game against Clemson. Good for Clemson too for getting in. But I really was thinking, man, we'll see if the committee, has enough integrity, to give it to SMU, and take away, factoring in the strength of schedule. Because I know that's obviously the big argument when it comes to Bama's situation. But boy, I'm glad they gave the nod to SMU and gave them a shot at it, because I think they've had an incredible season. And it's just so bizarre, though. You look at teams like SMU, man, it's like, what are they doing right? What are they doing so freaking right that, we aren't at Nebraska? But we don't need to keep talking about that. We're going to figure that out eventually. But man, it's we'll see though, and I'm glad there's going to be new stories being made, just regardless of where. But I just hope for some good ball and maybe a Cinderella story mixed in.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting too, as you state that. Yeah, I mean, one thing is, and I got some text too from former players that said, you could just tell the difference when you watch it. When you watch a Penn State Oregon game, it's like, well, they're just playing a different sport. It almost looks like than Nebraska. So there is, some catching up you have to do to be one of those elite teams. And so hopefully Nebraska can, pick up on some things as they sit back and watch. But the other thing too is bowl season over the years has been hurt, obviously, by people sitting out, or just the fact that you have a playoff and kind of takes a little bit of shine away from the bowls. But it's interesting because the college football playoffs will be played the weekend before Nebraska's bowl game. So Nebraska's playing on the 28th. The weekend before, there will be one Friday night game between Indiana and Notre Dame. And then on that Saturday will be the rest of those first round playoff games. And then you kind of get a week into it and before you get to Nebraska. So I think that'll kind of help shine a spotlight on some of those other games. In the past, it's kind of hurt because you see, playoff games with stuff on the line, and then you see bowl games, and you're thinking, well, now there's really not a whole lot on the line. But I think the taste of playoffs with kind of a long break in between might actually help the focus on the bowl games once again. We'll see, though. It's obviously kind of trial by fire type of thing they're running through this year.
No, I'm all for it, man. I love it. I love it, dude. And, it's good because, in baseball, you see so many upsets when it comes down to a field of 64. And I just like the fact that it opens up the possibility to an upset, to a Cinderella college football team, potentially getting a national title. So the storylines are there to be had. So I'm all about it. But if you want to bring it back to Husker football, I just think a bowl win would do so much for the program. And boy, let's just fingers crossed that happens.
Yeah, certainly would put a good end to the season that Nebraska desperately needs after dropping many of their final games. Did beat Wisconsin to get bowl eligible, but other than that, it's been kind of tough. All right, let's take a quick break here. This is UnKut with Kyle Perry. Kyle is joining us via the Aloe Fiber VIP line this evening, and we'll be back with more Kyle Perry coming up next after the break.
Raising little ones is a big job, and you do your best to give them a good start every day. That means making sure they're well cared for while you're apart. You work hard, but it's not always easy to make ends meet. There may be help. Find out if you qualify for Nebraska's Child Care Tax Credit for working parents. You could be eligible for a credit of up to $2,000 per child on your next tax return. Learn more at nebraskachildcaretaxcredit.org. Brought to you by First 5 Nebraska and Nebraska Children and Families Foundation and aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
You can help fight deadly diseases like RSV and influenza while getting paid for your time. Velocity Clinical Research is now seeking clinical trial participants in your area. Participants can receive compensation for study-related time. No health insurance is needed to join. Find a study near you at velocitytrials.com. That's velocitytrials.com.
Ryan, with all this red and all these people around, I'm still not seeing the tailgate.
Todd Spidell, former body shop owner, terrible driver.
We're getting close. Now, did you know with 3 locations in Lincoln and hundreds of years of combined technician experience, we can get Husker fans back on the road even quicker and safer after their tailgate mishaps? Oh, Todd, turn left right here.
Left or right?
Left, right here.
Right?
Well, you wait for the tow truck. I'm getting a hot dog.
Well, I guess while I'm waiting. All right! Most recommended! Eustace Body Shop! Woohoo!
Dude, you should be on American Idol.
You really think so?
No.
Accidents happen, even to Husker fans. If it happens to you, call Eustace Body Shop, where our customers send their friends.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
At Anderson Ford, we offer a 5-day return or exchange policy, so you can make sure the vehicle you choose is the best vehicle for you. No pressure. Right now, lease a 2024 Ford F-150 for $395 per month. Experience better at Anderson Ford.
Stock number 1003769, $395 per month lease for 36 months with proof credit, 7,500 miles per year, $5,250 to assigning, no security deposit required. Tax, title, and license fees extra. Residency restrictions apply. Program subject to change. Must take new retail delivery from Anderson Auto Group by 11/30/24. See blue for details.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
General Fire and Safety has been keeping Lincoln businesses and commercial structures safe for more than 50 years. From a simple fire extinguisher to full fire suppression systems, Lincoln has trusted General Fire and Safety to provide top-of-the-line products, installation, and maintenance. If you're starting a new business in a brand new building, call on General Fire and Safety to help you plan a fire safety system that fits the specific needs of your business, employees, and customers. Call General Fire and Safety today at 402-261-0116.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red!
Come enjoy a show of the Midwest's best MMA fighters on Saturday, December 7th with Violence Fight League 2 at the Complex, the former location of Champions Fun Center. Fights are scheduled throughout the night, and if you haven't been before, now is the perfect time to go, with Nebraska football in between the regular season and a bowl game. Doors open at 6 p.m. with the first bout at 7 p.m. Learn more about the fighters and buy tickets at thecomplexlincoln.com.
Slay the holidays this year with a gift that'll really get them going. One that's built to win, like the new Honda CRF-R Motocrosser. One that's built for fun, like a Honda Mini Moto. Or one for each member of the family, like a Honda CRF Trail Bike. At Rod's Power Sports, you'll find the motorcycle, ATV, or side-by-side they'll love. During the Honda Gifts That Go sales event, you can slay the streets in style with a Grom Mini Moto, slay the trails with the CRF 50F, or pile into a Pioneer 1006 Deluxe Crew that can carry 6 elves over the fields and through the woods all year long. This year, don't just give any gift. Give the gift of outdoor adventure with a ride they'll never forget. Don't miss out. Head to Rod's Power Sports in Lincoln, Nebraska during the Honda Gifts That Go sales event. It's your chance to slay the holidays and your gift list. Dealer participation may vary. See dealer for complete program and safety details.
Back to UnKut with Kyle Perry on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Powered by the Teammates Mentoring Program.
We're back here on a Sunday night on UnKut. Uncut with Kyle Perry, who's joining us via the Allo Fiber VIP line. We talked much about the college football, the different bowls, and what it kind of means for the Huskers, who will be playing in New York City against Boston College in the first segment. If you missed any of that, head to theticketfm.com after the show, and you can find it podcasted there. But I did have to ask you, Kyle, as a baseball guy, some pretty big news in the baseball world that I wanted to ask you about. Juan Soto signing a new record deal with the New York Mets, choosing over kind of the rental he had with the Yankees last year, was third in the AL MVP race. This is a 15-year, $765 million contract that could exceed $800 million after they kind of get through with all the money there if he goes all 15 years. What are your immediate thoughts here? This happened within the last hour and a half or so of Juan Soto signing with the Mets.
All right, so my initial thoughts are, what the hell? First off, that contract is outrageous. I mean, keep in mind the guy is 25, right? I mean, he's been in the league since 2019. He's my age. It's hard to believe, but the guy's been in the league since he's freaking 19, and so, you know, the guy's an extremely just an incredibly talented player. The guy he's clutch. He's proven it in multiple postseasons. The guy's got an unbelievable swing. You can tell he's got the intangibles of not just the talent, but you know, he's a competitor and he steps up big in big moments and he's clutch. So I think he's worth every penny, but I think it's just outrageous, the number figure. I mean, 15 years, $765 million. That's bizarre. It's nothing short of bizarre, but are we just going to be seeing just outrageous contracts like this for the rest of the time? I'm sure. But very shocking to me that he goes to Queens after being in the Bronx a year. And I'm sure Yankees fans are pretty heated about that. But at the end of the day, there was probably one team that threw out a figure that satisfied him enough, and very shocked by it. If I had to pick where he was going to go, I thought it was either going to be Boston or stay in New York with the Yankees. But to make that jump is outrageous. With that contract is crazy. But you know, we'll see. We'll see. The Mets are going all in. They just signed another Yankee, Clay Holmes, potentially going to make him a starter. So we'll see, man. The Mets should be a force to be reckoned with next year for sure.
Yeah, it is interesting. They kind of had a surprising run to the NL Championship Series this year. So I mean, that's always one thing with these long deals, is like how competitive is the team going to be? Of course, Mike Trout signed that one back in 2019 with the Angels for a 12-year deal, and you just wonder if both sides are happy with that right now, considering, you know, where the Angels are. Of course, Ohtani, another one that was stuck with the Angels there for a little bit, got out of that, went to the Dodgers. I think they're both probably pretty happy with the results since then. But that was another 10-year deal. So that is the one thing about baseball, and you get up to 15 years, and now you're getting, you know, closer and closer. You know, this is a big step toward. I mean, you got to believe in the next couple of years we're going to have $1 billion contract.
Right, and it's not going to be going to Shohei Ohtani, which is just crazy because I mean his deal is 10 years, $700 million, which is outrageous in itself. But you're right. Before you know it, how much higher can these contracts get? I mean, it's crazy because you got to think too. It's like these players like Soto's going to be able to say for however long that he's got the highest freaking contract. He's got the largest contract in MLB history, and so until a talent arises that takes that contract and ups its ante, I guess I won't be shocked to see what they come up with in the future.
Why do you think the contracts are so long in baseball? Obviously, this takes him up to his age 41 season. It's crazy. I don't know what, obviously they've got their own, collective bargaining or deal or whatever the case may be. No salary cap. That all factors in. But I can't tell you much about the world in 15 years. I just don't know what it's going to look like. So to try to imagine, to already get ready for my payroll in 2039 is something that it's just crazy.
No, it's hard to explain. It's hard to fathom. It's hard to wrap your head around, really, just because of how ridiculous that contract is. But why is it like this? I couldn't tell you. I mean, the guy's in the prime of his life. The way they view him, I think they had to buy him over because they were saying this whole time that whoever was going to offer the highest amount was going to get Soto. And so that's entirely true, as we've gotten to find out. But boy, I couldn't tell you why the contracts are constructed this way. Like you said, that takes him into year 41. Who knows what the hell Juan Soto's doing in year 41, or not year 41? At least that's what his age would be. So we'll see. I just don't know how much higher his ceiling can get. Is he worth every penny? We'll see. Because you would hate to see, a decline in his production. And I'm sure if you give him 15 years, he's gonna have years better than others. So we'll see. But man, I don't know why these contracts are the way they are.
Well, it's also kind of unique to him too, because I mean, it's basically he's finally somewhat found a home. Like you said, he's 26 years old. He's been in the league since 2018. He's played this will be his fourth team for one of the best young players in baseball. It's kind of surprising to see him move around like that. But I guess it's going to be it's usually hard to move a contract like the biggest one of all time. So I think he might be a Met for a while.
No, you're right, because I mean it's very, very unique situation he's in to see a guy bounced around this early into his career. But it's a unique. He's a unique player. I remember my brother and I went and saw the Yankees play the Royals in Kauffman in July or August, and the guy was an absolute goofball in right field. He was interacting with fans mid-game. There were multiple pitches where I don't even think he had his glove on, while the pitch was being delivered. Like, the guy seems like a total goon out there. But he now is in possession of or under the contract, largest at the sports scene. So I just think it's outrageous, man. But like I said, I just don't know how much better he can get, how much more he can produce. We're probably going to see multiple MVP runs from him. But it is interesting, that he hasn't been able to find a home. And I just sneezed. Bless me. Thank you. But we'll see if he sticks in the Bronx, because, I don't know what, or not in the Bronx, in Queens, but we'll see, man. I just don't know. I just really don't know. I know him and Francisco Lindor are good buddies from what it appears. So we'll see. We'll see if they can get it done too. Because I mean, if the Mets are making moves like this, like a ring or two needs to follow, especially when you're talking about a 15-year window.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's weird because the Mets have New York expectations, but they've always been shadowed by the Yankees. So it's like there's an understanding that they're not the Yankees, I suppose. But of course, there is that heat and fraction between them, even though they're in different leagues. And we're very close to the Subway Series, as we all know, which would have been fun. It'll be even a little bit more fun if that ends up happening in the Fall Classic this year. But I think the expectations for the Mets, it is interesting to make a move like this because you're right. Now the expectations can't be under the Yankees, or maybe we can take some headlines away from them in the local paper. It's kind of into that championship or bust territory pretty soon.
No doubt. If you're making moves like this means that you're going to compete against the Dodgers and playing with their money. That's obvious. That's what it is, and we'll see. It makes for some great potential here in the future with runs at this. You want to talk Moneyball? Smokes, man! It's crazy because it's gonna be hard to see anybody compete with the Dodgers and the money they're paying. So a contract like this for Soto is a message from the Mets that they're willing to pay top dollar to get a ring.
All right, we talked a little bit of football, talked a little bit of baseball. What's next? Well, you're gonna have to find out when we come back here on Uncut with Kyle Perry. Kyle joining me via the Allo Fiber VIP line. I'm Jake Bakoven back in studio. We get one final segment for you of the night coming back for you right when we return from this commercial break.
Come enjoy a show of the Midwest's best MMA fighters on Saturday, December 7th with Violence Fight League 2 at the Complex, the former location of Champions Fun Center. Fights are scheduled throughout the night, and if you haven't been before, now is the perfect time to go, with Nebraska football in between the regular season and a bowl game. Doors open at 6 p.m. with the first bout at 7 p.m. Learn more about the fighters and buy tickets at thecomplexlincoln.com.
Slay the holidays this year with a gift that'll really get them going. One that's built to win, like the new Honda CRF-R Motocrosser. One that's built for fun, like a Honda Mini Moto. Or one for each member of the family, like a Honda CRF Trail Bike. At Rod's Power Sports, you'll find the motorcycle, ATV, or side-by-side they'll love. During the Honda Gifts That Go sales event, you can slay the streets in style with a Grom Mini Moto, slay the trails with the CRF 50F, or pile into a Pioneer 1006 Deluxe Crew that can carry 6 elves over the fields and through the woods all year long. This year, don't just give any gift. Give the gift of outdoor adventure with a ride they'll never forget. Don't miss out. Head to Rod's Power Sports in Lincoln, Nebraska during the Honda Gifts That Go sales event. It's your chance to slay the holidays and your gift list. Dealer participation may vary. See dealer for complete program and safety details.
At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we strive to provide you with the right coverages for all your insurance needs by taking the time to meet with you and review what coverages best fit your needs. So whether you're in the market for home, auto, farm, business, life, or a combination of any of these coverages, we can help with making sure you, your family, or your business have the right coverage based on your individual needs. If you would like to review your insurance needs, please contact Ben Spurt with Farm Bureau Financial Services at 402-217-9945 or through email at ben.spurt@fbfs.com.
This is where it happens. Long hikes with friends, kayaking adventures with family, more horseback riding, zipline gliding, rock face climbing, hammock camping fun than you could ever imagine. And it's all outdoors, amongst the trees and across the prairie, here beneath Nebraska skies. Plan an outing today at yournebraskaadventure.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
The electrical workers of local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
General Fire and Safety has been keeping Lincoln businesses and commercial structures safe for more than 50 years. From a simple fire extinguisher to full fire suppression systems, Lincoln has trusted General Fire and Safety to provide top-of-the-line products, installation, and maintenance. If you're starting a new business in a brand new building, call on General Fire and Safety to help you plan a fire safety system that fits the specific needs of your business, employees, and customers. Call General Fire and Safety today at 402-261-0116.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road.
It's the holiday season. Time for work parties, friend get-togethers, family gatherings, which means lots of eating. Maybe you think you've perfected your holiday meals, and maybe you have no idea where to even start. Let's fix that right now. No holiday party is complete without Führer's cheese spread. It goes well with any type of cracker, pretzels, apples, chili, vegetables, chips, and of course, it's perfect to pair with wine or beer. Holiday meals aren't complete until Führer's cheese spread is on the table. Find your own container at your nearest local grocery store today. Wrestling fans, it's time to elevate your game, just like Stevens & Smith Construction does for your concrete needs. As your full-service concrete contractor, we deliver solid results every time. From singles to doubles, fighting for inside position to scrambling reversals, we know how to pin down quality and slam expectations. Stevens & Smith Construction, a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket, where Husker wrestlers bring you all the action. Don't stall. Stevens & Smith Construction is here to help you build a concrete foundation for the win. Check us out at www.stevensandsmith.com because stalling is a penalty and winning is the only option.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
You never think cancer will happen to you. I smoked for over 40 years. My doctor recommended that I get annual lung cancer screening. They were able to catch my cancer at stage 1. It's never too late to quit. Even if you're still smoking, you need to ask your doctor about annual lung cancer screening. Just 30 minutes a year could save your life.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the K&TK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeit. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Back to UnKut with Kyle Perry on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Powered by the Teammates Mentoring Program.
We're indeed back for the final segment of UnKut here with Kyle Perry. Kyle Perry joining us via the Aloe Fiber VIP line. I'm Jake Bachman back in the studio. And yes, I've turned the lights off. It's the last segment of the night. It used to be a tradition around here, so maybe I brought it back at least for this Sunday night segment. Kyle, as we get ready to get back into the week, of course, we're getting ever close to the Christmas season. There's much debate and all about when you can celebrate, when you can put the Christmas lights up. But are you getting excited for the Christmas season?
Christmas music, all right. Christmas music can be turned on even before Thanksgiving, and I've had it going, probably a week before Thanksgiving. That's the way I get into the Christmas spirit, baby.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but it just hits. It hits every time. Christmas music. It's definitely not a year-round deal. It's a seasonal deal, but I'm all for it. Christmas foods, drinks, eggnog, and such. That's what I'm all about. And then the Christmas lights, of course, a staple. I was in Waverly. I volunteered with Becca Alec and Malia Tomes, 2 Huskers. Becca, in the middle of an NCAA tournament run, was helping out in Waverly, and we got to judge some parade floats, and they do this thing every year with the entire town where they parade all these trailers and decorated parade floats and go around town passing out candy and stuff. So that's what we got to do tonight. It was pretty neat. So that definitely helped get me in the spirit. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a very cool plug for Waverly. I didn't really know they got into Christmas quite that much. So that was tonight that you were the judge. What ended up catching your eye?
Oh, dude, there were some incredible floats out there, man. I mean, some serious time spent. Some competitive people for sure. I'm not sure what was on the line for the best float, but the one that we gave the number 1 to was pretty incredible. They had built like a straight up actual gingerbread house, but out of actual materials that you would build, a home with. So like wood nails and stuff. So it was pretty impressive. And then everyone was dressed up as elves, and they had the whole like snow landscape with cotton balls or whatever. But it was impressive. I can't lie, it was fun.
Yeah, that does sound like a lot of fun. Any kind of parting thoughts for us as we prepare to wrap up the show?
No, man. I just you at the end of the day, you wish Scott Frost good luck in his future endeavor back in Orlando, and let's look forward to one incredible playoff first year with 12 teams. I'm stoked, man. We're gonna have a good. I think the Dr. Pepper commercial, what they call it, like playoff-uary or something like that. That's what it's gonna be like. I'm all about it. I can't wait.
Yeah, it is going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait either. And but that'll wrap it up for Uncut. We talked some football, some baseball, some Scott Frost, and some Christmas. What's better than that? But that'll wrap it up for Uncut tonight. So thanks again to Kyle Perry for joining us via the Allo Fiber VIP line. That'll wrap it up for me, Jake Bachman, in studio as well. Early break. We'll return bright and early in the morning for you as we have another week of 93.7 The Ticket kicking off.